Brilliant. What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again. John was checking his fucking teeth. Polly Filler has fixed his forehead. He's got poly grip in his face for his foot. Everton are back this week. We have had a few days off. It has been a lovely break. Would you agree with that, John?
It has been a lovely break, but that break entails all this England talk, and in England really don't interest me. So we did say before the international break, it's nice to not have to watch Everton for a while, even though we're unbeaten in 4, I think it is. But I'm ready. I'm ready for the Blue Boys to come back on Saturday against the Tractor Boys, 3-0 up the Toffees.
Lovely. Great attitude as well. Before we start talking about that game, because obviously there's a whole match preview that John's almost rushed into there. He's ready to go for Thursday, but we're not quite there yet. We just wanted to talk about really some of the stuff that's happened over the last few days, the last week or so. There's been some stunning pictures of the new stadium. There's been essentially there's the Everton sleep out was the weekend on Friday. I think it's probably best to start with the sleep out. You know, over £160,000 raise. Kevin Thirlwell was in attendance, which is phenomenal. I was meant to be there, but not, and I had a family emergency and couldn't make it. It's great that we still do it for the community, isn't it? You know, it's really, really key that continues no matter what Everton do.
But the thing is, Michael, I think Everton are probably the only club who do something like that. So it just shows that we reiterate what David Moyes said when he called us the People's Club. There may be others that we don't know of abroad, but I really do think we're the only club in the country who does something like that. It was the last one at Goodison. Apparently, they've raised over £100,000 for Everton in the community. You know, it is the People's Club and things like that. And I'm pretty sure they will donate to Zoes Place, which is unfortunate. You know, we've all heard the stories about the fabulous place in West Derby and Liverpool that will find £5 million by the end of, I think it's the end of November or the end of December, or it's going. So places like that, you know, they need funding, unfortunately. So if Everton or anybody else with a bit of money, I just want to throw this in. If anyone else can find a GoFundMe page for Zoe's Place, please give, because that place is fantastic for kids who are ill, and the parents get looked after when they've got a break from their children who, you know, unfortunately, you know, we're fortunate we have healthy kids, but some families aren't as fortunate as us. So if you can find a GoFundMe page out there for Zoe's Place, please give, because in Liverpool, it's world renowned, Zoe's Place, and it does a fantastic job. So we do need to try and reach that £5 million. I think they're up to nearly 2 million now within the space of a week. So people are smashing it. Going back, I thought I'd mention that because we were talking about Everton in the community. Yeah, over £100,000 raised. I did pick a Mr. Andy Bush up the other day from Absolute Radio from down south. He's quite vocal on Twitter and all. I picked him up outside Goodison, took him to Lime Street. He had told him about the channel and he asked what it was. So if you do watch Andy, great to meet you, mate. And again, I did message you on Twitter to say to you and everybody else who braved the cold for the sleep out the other night, I take me hat off you, because you've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think you've absolutely hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, I think it's really, really important that we keep the core value of our football team as we transition. We know about the freaking movement, and we know that from a business perspective, we're going to be, let's say corporately a little bit better. We need to earn more money from the stadium. There's more executive seating, there's more executive boxes, etc., etc. But at the core of Everton, and it always will be, and always has been, is the community, is the fans, is the people. So you are absolutely right, John. Zoe's Place. Being from the Midlands, this is where I have one of those views from the outside in. Being from the Midlands, I've heard about Zoe's Place, but I'm not going to sit here and say I knew absolutely tons about it. And when you hear the stories and you hear the parents and the children and the people that it's affected, supported, promoted, everything that it's done. It's a travesty that they're even in the position that they're in for whatever reason. And we've just got to find a way that place can get a new property, get new development, get some support, because places like that have to exist. They have to exist.
Places like that, Michael, are very few and far between. It's only one of a few in the country that actually do what they do. There's people from countrywide, worldwide, who use the facilities at Zoes Place. I can probably speak a bit more about it because obviously, as you quite rightly said, I don't expect you to know as much as me. But there is a couple of building companies who have come in and offered to build new premises. Obviously, it won't be for nothing because material prices and stuff. But basically, I think what they're offering, maybe I'm wrong, but from what I've heard on the grapevine, is they're either going to do it on the cheap or they're not going to really charge for the labour. It'll just be the materials. So the lease is up on the building in West Derby. So that's probably why they've got to move. There was a site in place, but whoever was funding it have pulled out. So this is why now the GoFundMe pages are in place to try and get that money, which is £5 million. So as I said before, when you look at the two massive clubs on Merseyside, surely there's people who support these clubs with money. Even if the players give 20, 30, 40,000 pounds each out of their own pocket, they're not going to miss it, and it will go a long, long way to securing something that is fantastic, not just for Merseyside and Liverpool, but for countrywide. And it needs to survive. Zoes Place, it needs to keep that name. So yeah, let's hope they get their wish and they get what they want.
Yeah, completely agree. Let's talk about the football side of things now, John. We had a scare midweek. Lewin in Jai got injured. We were like, I think every Evertonian was going, "Oh my God, are you joking me? What's going on? How are we going to perform without him?" And it looks like, I think you said today, that he's played 31 minutes or something, or he's done training, and at least he's not injured.
Well, apparently, from all accounts, he come through the game unscathed. I don't know whether he had the first half hour or half an hour in the game and got subbed again. And Everton have obviously had some sort of agreement with the country that he plays. Is it Senegal he plays for? I'm not so sure. Yeah. Ghana guy. He completed 60 minutes, which was probably needed. Unfortunately, the time that he missed at Everton was due to his dad passing away. So obviously he started to lose a bit of match fitness. So it was good that he got an hour. But the scare we had in Dye, hopefully that half an hour today has helped him, and he'll hit the ground running again on Saturday. Like what we've seen the past few weeks, he's been absolutely exceptional.
Yeah, I actually think he's made players around him look good as well. We saw that Dwight McNeil was nominated for Player of the Month. 3 goals, 1 assist. And I actually think he's taken a bit of pressure off McNeil by McNeil being able to play centrally. I think we've looked better with him in the team, which was something we were crying out for the first 2 games of the season, as we know. John, in terms of going forward and the team and progression now, we're unbeaten in 3. This is, we're coming up for a run of fixtures that, according to Premier League statistics, are the easiest run of fixtures for any team. We've got to pick up points. We've got to pick up points now. It really is on Dyche. We've got to go to places like Ipswich and win. How confident are you?
I'm more confident now than what I was 4 weeks ago. As you quite rightly say, we've picked points up along the way. We are unbeaten in quite a few games now. The defence looks to have settled down as well. Going back to Ndiaye quickly, we did speak on here about Ndiaye, and I said he's a player who gets bums off seats when it comes to the supporters. And we also did speak about he will make players around him play better. And it's exactly what he's doing, because I put money on it that if Dwight McNeil wasn't playing with Ndiaye, Dwight McNeil wouldn't be up for Player of the Month. And that's no disrespect to Dwight. I just think he's got that little spark. He's got that little lift in him, that people around him perform better because they can see how well he's performing. But also, Michael, the sort of player that Ndiaye is, he takes pressure off the players who are around him in the midfield. So maybe that's why you see him more, Jack Harrison's come on, he's a couple of substitution appearances and what have you, and he's looked better. Dwight McNeil in the middle, he's looked better. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's putting better performances in. Not saying they're good enough, but we are seeing a bit more. So he is the sort of player who, as I said, gets bums off seats, but gives the crowd a lift, but gives players around him a lift as well. And that's what this team's needed. Going forward, they are winnable fixtures. You know, I'd like to think we can get something from Ipswich. If we play like we have been, you know, I don't see no reason why we can't beat Ipswich. I really don't. There's a couple of players, well, the majority of the team, you know, they've had a little break. They haven't been away on international duty. We don't have that many players going out as compared to some clubs going out on loan, playing international football. So I do think we're ready to go again. I think the team will be ready to go again. You know, we've got Ipswich on Saturday, then we've got a home game next week. I think it's Fulham. They're games you look at. I know Fulham have started well, but it's a game at Goodison Park. We should be beating Fulham at Goodison Park, Michael. So if we can get 6 points out the next 2 games and carry it on, I don't see no reason why we can't move up the table. But we have to do it, and Dyche has to get it right. He has to get the tactics right. He has to get the team selection right, because as you quite rightly say, we have got a run of fixtures now where you'd like to think we'll take more points than not out the games, and it will be on the manager if he fails to do that.
Yeah, we all know my concerns on Dosh, but I think fundamentally the freaking group won't just go and waste money for the sake of sacking him if they feel we're going to be okay. These next 6 fixtures for me define Sean Dyche's last 6 months at Everton, because if Everton are in the bottom 3 at the end of these 6 fixtures, I honestly think at the moment they come in, they'll sack him. Yeah. If we're not, and we've got a bit of a gap, then I think he probably gets to the end of the season. But either way, he'll be changed at the end of the season. You know, we've been hearing rumours about how they want to come in and, you know, strengthen the squad pretty much straight away. They want to change the sort of the brand around Everton, the atmosphere, you know, go from almost a bit of a stagnant club at times. You know, we haven't won anything in a long time. You know, people criticise the stadium, which is, you know, you don't criticise Goodison if you've gone there. But for all the people that don't see it on, you know, only see it on TV, you know, they're all quick to go, oh, it's an old ground and all this rubbish. You don't know what it's like until you're there. Mm. But what it will do is this stadium is going to be front and centre for the world to see. It's going to be iconic. It's on the banks of the Mersey. It's an opportunity in terms of branding. We've saw it with big companies like Red Bull wanting to be involved. It clearly shows that Everton is going up trajectory, or I can't say. It just means that it's all positive. And I really do think, and I know I said it in my last video, and I know I rambled a little bit, but I'm excited about January. I'm excited about the summer. The main thing is, though, we've got to be a Premier League team, and I do think the next 6 fixtures really do. It could be the nail in the coffin for Dyche, or it could be the opportunity that he needs to get Everton up the league.
The thing is, if he doesn't go after 6 fixtures, obviously he's doing something right, and the team's doing something right. His contract's up at the end of the season. There is an option for a further 12 months. I don't think the freaking group give that option of 12 months. Going back to what you said about Dan Freakin and the excitement, listen, Everton's going to be run properly, and we've seen what the Freakin group have done with Roma. There's a 2-3 years they've been involved with the club now, and I think they've spent something like £1 billion with Roma. I'm not saying they're going to spend £1 billion on Everton within 2 or 3 years, but these mean business. And the way I'm looking at it, you know, if these come in and our football club fails yet again, then just fold. Because if these can't get us out the doldrums that we've been in for years, and these can't make this club run like a proper business, get the right people in, get the crowds excited, look forward to new things coming in the future, bring the right players in. If this group of people can't do them things, then no one can. Then no one can fix this mess that this club's in. And I know we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. The freaking group haven't signed the paperwork. They haven't crossed the T's and dotted the I's. probably will happen, to be fair. If I was a betting man, I'd say they were going to come in. But if this group of people can't put Everton back on the map, I'm not saying they're going to come in and we're going to challenge in 2-3 years to win the league. But what we need fellow supporters from other clubs and other teams and other owners of football clubs to go, Everton are doing a good job, aren't they, since they've been took over? Look at Everton now from where they were. They're coming up the league. As I say, I don't expect us to challenge for the league, but we want to see progression. And this is what I'm saying. I'm trying to hit the nail on the head. We don't progress under this group, then no one will progress this club. So we've just got to give it time, let them get their feet in the door, have exciting transfer windows. Hopefully the days of PSR are behind us now. You know, bring a forward-thinking manager in. As Michael says in a few videos, this isn't a dig dice out video. It's not. But if we want to move forward, and this is just my opinion, other Everton fans will have the same opinion, some will disagree. We want to move forward as a business, as a club, as a support, you know, as an entity. We need to bring the right people in, and that starts with the right board, the right manager, the right backroom staff, and the right players to put Everton back up there to make people notice that we are back.
Yeah, spot on, John. Spot on. And the other thing I want to mention, and this sort of come out yesterday, and we've heard a little bit more today. Whether this is true or not, we don't know. But Calvert-Lewin and Beto have both been linked with a move to Juventus, and I think Beto is also attracting Roma. I mean, I can't see that. I can't see Juventus lining up with two Everton centre forwards and next win.
Well, I mean, I think if Beto goes to Roma, it'll be the case of you scratched our back, now we'll scratch yours, sort of thing, and you know, doing the deals between clubs. Listen, whether Calvert-Lewin's good for Juventus, you know, I don't think he is. When you look at some of the players Juventus has had, he's not fit to. You know, he's not good enough to lace their boots. Beto's a funny one, you know. Wherever Beto goes, in my opinion, it'll be dog poo. And again, it boils down to Calvert-Lewin. We've spoke on here, Michael, with regards to Calvert-Lewin. I actually think Calvert-Lewin's waiting for the takeover to be done, to see what direction the club's going in, and to see if they change the manager. Because I think it's one of the worst secrets in football that Calvert-Lewin doesn't like playing under Dyche, and he doesn't like the Dyche type of football. So I think that's what Calvert-Lewin's waiting for. You think he's out of contract at the end of the season, where we could lose him for nothing from January onwards. The takeover will hopefully be done by then. I think he'll have a few promises. I don't know if the freaking group will want to keep Calvert-Lewin, but if they do, I think he will have a few promises, hopefully behind closed doors, that Dyche probably will be replaced. We will be looking for a more forward-thinking, well-known manager who can push the club forward, and then we see what happens with him. But again, I'll reiterate what I always say on here: any player that doesn't want to be at our beloved football club, see ya.
John, I've got nothing else to add, mate. I think that's it.
One thing I wanted to add: certain Mr. Pickford was dropped from the England team the other night. I don't know what your thought was on that. I think we seen the game before he was dropped where he tried to dribble it out and it was robbed off him, and you know, I think that the opposition's player tried to lob it in. I think it was cleared off the line. I don't think Pickford's been that good for us this season. I think he's had a mistake in him this season, Pickford. He's looked shaky to me, whether that's the poor defence that he's had in front of him. But maybe, and I've seen a few people on X saying this, and I've heard TalkSport as well, a few fans phoning in, dropping Pickford was maybe the volley up the arse that he needed, because I don't think he's been great this season for Everton. And then obviously he's looking cocksure of himself in an England shirt, that he can dribble it out and be, you know, some sort of world-class goalkeeper stroke defender where he tries to bring it out. And I don't know, maybe that's just a little welly up the bum that he needed to knock him down a peg and to, you know, gatherers' thoughts of how he's been since the season started, because I don't think he's been brilliant. But I was just wanting to get your thoughts on it, because
Yeah,
Pickford's been quite a mainstay, hasn't he, for England in competitions for quite a while now. You know, and people have said he shouldn't be England number one from other clubs, by the way, their supporters. Just wanted to get your thoughts on what did you think of Lee Carsley actually dropping him?
Yeah, it's interesting really, because I don't think it's bad for any player to be dropped ordinarily. I think every so often a player could do with almost a reality check, almost a remember, mate, you're not necessarily, solid, your place isn't. And players can get inconsistent, they can get a little bit, as you rightly said, cocksure, they can almost get a little bit ahead of themselves.
Yeah.
For me, Jordan is the best England goalkeeper we have. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think Ramsdale, Pope, Trafford, whoever else you want to throw in there, I don't think anyone is better than Pickford. I don't. Do I think Pickford's been poor this season? But he's played in arguably the worst defence. I think at times he really should have come out.
He's being exposed, Pickford.
He has, but he also, I don't feel, has commanded his box particularly well. But if I'm being honest, I don't think he commands his box great anyway.
Yeah.
I think he's a very, very good shot stopper. And I think he's always been a very good shot stopper.
But he's got a mistake in him.
Yeah, I think this season, I think he has been exposed. And I do think you're right. I think this is probably a drop that he's needed, because he hasn't been dropped from Everton. He hasn't been dropped for England in, I think you're talking the best part of 8 years for both clubs. He's needed a moment where he's gone, right, yeah, okay, let's regroup, let's go again. His form for Everton has got to improve, but that's the same about any Everton centre-half. Me and you were both sitting there before the end of last season saying both Branthwaite and Tarkowski should be in the England squad. And realistically, Tarkowski should be absolutely nowhere near the England squad based on his performance this season. So I do think at times it's what players need. I think you're right. I think it's a fair comment. I think what he did with Levy Caldwell bailing him out was stupid, but it can happen. He will ultimately get the benefit of the doubt from me, because I've gone through this ringer with Pickford 3 or 4 years ago, going on, I think he's overrated, I think he's not very good. And then he proved me wrong, and he's consistently proved me wrong. So I'm more than happy for him to have a bad game, a bit of a blip, and us go again. But you're right, John. I don't think he's been as great as he was last season. I think there has been a mistake in him. And ultimately, I think Carsley was right in dropping him just to give him that kick up the arse. It's probably done him a favour.
It's good to see a manager who's not scared to drop players, Michael, because as you quite rightly say, Pickford's been a mainstay. Obviously, he's been took out the team to give other keepers a chance, but he hasn't been taken out the team because of mistakes. And I think the other night was the first time where he had been took out for that reason. Looks like Thomas Tuchel will get the England job. By all accounts, he's in advanced talk. So be interesting to see what he does. But listen, this isn't an England podcast. We don't like England. We don't watch England. It's boring. But yeah, it will be interesting.
Will indeed. Right, guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. We are back. We've had a little break, but we're back. We're hungry, we're excited, and we're looking forward to the match preview on Thursday. Obviously, as always, if there's any absolutely earth-shattering news tomorrow, there will be a video to support it. But at this moment in time, there does not appear to be any earth-shattering going on apart from in John's toilet. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe, guys, and we will see you soon. Peace.